Hello everybody and welcome to my channel, Super Sam 7. Today I'm looking at the 7th appearance of Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man issue 4 has the first appearance of the supervillain Sandman, one of my favorites. This comic released June 11th, 1963, with a cover date of September 1st, 1963. The cover is very unique as it's comprised of 4 comic panels showing Spider-Man meeting the Sandman, realizing he has powers, and getting squashed by him. I like the bottom of the page building up the villain, with the words "the Sandman" looking like sand particles. The cover of this issue is one of the 32 that appear in the comic collection from the video game Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro. This is issue 76 in a complete Marvel Comics reading order. This comic was written by Stan Lee, penciled and inked by Steve Ditko, lettered by Sam Rosen. The story is called Nothing Can Stop the Sandman. The story starts with Spider-Man swinging through the city, and he sees some suspicious characters casing a jewelry store, so he drops some webs on the 3 guys to stop them, but they yell for the cops since there's no evidence against them. I mean, they were going to rob the place, but now they were really just walking down the street. A cop walking the beat comes by, and with that, Spider-Man leaves them all. Spider-Man next sees a giant police chase and then a man frantically climbing a building. Spider-Man shines his spider signal to the guy and lands on the roof. The man introduces himself as the Sandman, and Spider-Man says he's heard of him but thought it was all a gag. Well, they fight, and in the fight, Sandman rips Spider-Man's mask, and Peter leaves before he can use his webs on Sandman. Spider-Man runs away from Sandman, worried that it would reveal his secret identity to the world. Though to Sandman, Peter was just a random teenager, so what's the big deal if he saw his real face? Probably not even. He probably wouldn't even really care about his secret identity. The Sandman just goes back to what he was doing and jumps off the building without harm, since he can just become sand particles and land nice and softly. Back at home, Peter is sewing up his Spider-Man mask while watching the news report about the Sandman in New York. He also needs to lie to Aunt May about being sick, so he stays out of his room. That day, Peter goes into the Daily Bugle to ask for an advance. That goes as well as it does in Spider-Man 2. JJJ gets a little prank set up by Pete the day before, webbing Jameson to his chair. How did his webbing stay there overnight? I don't know. I guess this is because it wasn't until later it was stated that his webs dissolve in an hour. Oh, this is the first prank Spidey plays on JJ. And this is also Betty Brant's first appearance. She's JJJ's secretary. She does next to nothing here except seemingly enjoy the prank that Spider-Man pulled on her boss. Peter then goes to school that day, and after everything with the Sandman and fixing his suit, he forgot all about his date with Liz Allen agreed to go on him with. He cancels it and makes Liz mad, and Flash Thompson happy. And Flash also points out that Peter took an umbrella to school with him. During that school day, coincidentally, the Sandman himself walks into Peter's school while avoiding the cops, and he starts trouble. Though I find it really funny that Sandman didn't mean to walk in on a room full of people, yet he decides to just start talking about getting a high school diploma given to him, and then the principal standing up to the Sandman after a student eggs him on. Well, Peter switches into Spider-Man and starts fighting the Sandman again, while all the students cheer Spidey on, with Flash Thompson insulting Peter Parker during it, saying he's not there because he's hiding under a desk. Fun fact, one of the teens watching this Sandman battle with Spider-Man is revealed to be Jessica Jones, and that was revealed in Amazing Spider-Man issue 601. Let's talk about the Sandman first. We get his origin story told, and it's pretty similar in every interpretation. He was a criminal who was the worst prison inmate and escaped. While running away from the cops, he hides out at an atomic testing center, usually at a beach, and an explosion happens with him there, and that transforms his body. His DNA becomes fused with the sand and he gets superpowers. Rereading this, I picked up that Flint Marko hid there at the site for days. It just wasn't him showing up there. Then, a second later, he gets automatically transformed. Also, this story states his real name is Flint Marko, but that changes in the future. And Peter is watching this on a black and white TV, and Sandman got his powers from radiation in here. All part of that sliding comics time scale where you have to, I guess just deal with the topical time changes in these super early stories. And let me rephrase, I guess Sandman doesn't always get his powers at a beach, but in some type of laboratory experiment. That's what I meant when I said his origin is pretty similar every time. The Sandman, well, is a man completely made of sand. Now he can become solid as rock or smooth as, I don't know, a polished stone. He also can become quicksand to get Spider-Man stuck. He can shape change his hands into big blocks of hammers, and he can grow to be taller than normal. Those are his greatest powers that he shows off in this issue. I love that at the start, Sandman doesn't even really pay Spider-Man much attention in their first meeting. He just brushes Spidey off like he's a crazy man. He's so sure of himself that he even tells Spider-Man he's got banks to rob. In the second fight, Spider-Man fires his webbing around Sandman, trying to capture him that way, thinking the fight would be over then, and Sandman easily slips out of his webbing and the fight's back on. They pretty much copied this idea in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon in Sandman's first episode, episode 5. The iconic Spider-Man moment of Spider-Man punching Sandman, then getting his arm stuck in his body, happens in his first appearance. During this moment, Sandman tells a dirty joke, I think. Ever get any love taps from a guy's rock-hard head? I like that Sandman can reform his body from countless little sand particles, even after Spider-Man smashed him into an iron post. It's kind of creepy. Oh, and I like when Sandman becomes a bunch of sand, his green shirt and human face disappear. Spider-Man defeats Sandman by tricking him into becoming soft sand particles, and then sucks him into a vacuum. Yes, Spider-Man had to use his intelligence to defeat one of his stronger villains. I also like, there's a lot of this issue I like. At the start of the issue, it has Spider-Man making a mistake and learning about being a superhero still, even after 3 mainline issues. Now, one of the criminals here is named Charlie. This is the thug Charlie's only appearance. Now, there was a thug in the last issue named Charlie, who becomes Crookman in Spider-Man 1990, issues 38 through 40. I guess this is just a common slimeball name given the Crooks. Or maybe it all just doesn't matter. I just wanted to point out that this is another Spider-Man guy named Charlie. Even from the early issues, J. Jonah Jameson thinks he's a bigger deal than he actually is. At least that's how I interpret these scenes. Here he stands shoulder to shoulder with the police, creating a barrier to the school with the Sandman inside, and he makes demands about what to do with Spider-Man and Sandman. I find him always so funny to read in these comics. JJJ goes inside the school after the action and grabs Peter Parker, thinking he was hiding there to get him pictures, and he actually does get pictures of Spider-Man fighting Sandman, or so he thinks. You see, after the fight, Spider-Man set up his automatic camera and took some real sand at the school for putting out fires and throws the sand in the air and pretends to be fighting it, so he sort of gave JJJ fake pictures here. I mean, they're real enough, I guess. This is the first time Peter violates his journalistic integrity by taking pictures of a simulated fight after the actual battle is over. And I also like how JJJ, the only thing on his mind when he sees Peter is about pictures for him instead of Peter's safety. Unlike any other Marvel superhero at the time, Peter had to make and fix up his own costumes, and we see that even doing that causes him some problems. Stuff like this really makes me like Peter Parker / Spider-Man, since who else would go through all this for a double life, where the second persona everyone hates thanks to Jameson, and he still goes on because he helps innocents as the wall crawler. First time Peter hurts himself, this is the first time Peter hurts himself while repairing his costume, and the first time he's ever torn his mask. At the end, when Sandman stopped, Peter tries to actually go on that date with Liz Allen since everything has been wrapped up for him, but she refuses because it looks like Peter's just being a jerk trying to get her to, I don't know, chase him or something, rejecting and then accepting the date in the same school day, even though he kept asking her. I actually like that Flash was shutting Peter down here, and the two are about to get in an actual fist fight, but Peter comes to his senses since he would pulverize Flash with his spider powers, so he lets it go and leaves, with Flash saying Peter's just chicken, but yeah, in reality, Peter just saved him from a hospital visit. Yes, as Peter Parker, his classmates dislike him, but as Spider-Man, they cheer him on, and Peter wonders what they would do if they knew the truth. Really fast, this issue is the first appearance of Peter's principal, and this is the first time we learned of Liz Allen's first name. She's been in Spider-Man mythos since Amazing Fantasy 15. Well, the ending has Sandman defeated, and Peter overhears the public's thoughts about Spider-Man now. Even though he stopped the hardened criminal, the public still questions Spider-Man's reasons for doing what he does. This is the last shot of the issue, with Peter questioning if he's crazy dressing up as a spider and using his powers to seemingly help people. Is he crazy? The start of the issue, where he didn't exactly stop those guys from committing robbery, he questions why he doesn't just give it all up. He doesn't, believing there is a reason, and one day the world will understand him. This last panel sums up the Stan Lee Steve Ditko Spider-Man perfectly. One personal add-on I want to say, when I was growing up, and especially around the time of the movie Spider-Man 3, the Sandman was my favorite Spider-Man villain, heck, my favorite supervillain ever at the time. I just really loved his sand powers. For example, this whole scene where he breaks into a bank vault, no problem. He changes his finger into a key to unlock a door, and he slides under the security gate. And I just thought, what if there's hidden stories that could be written about Sandman before he met Spider-Man? I love this art of Spider-Man standing upon the school, everyone looking up at him, and the American flag beside him, and the Sandman being trapped in that container. Now, couldn't Sandman just get out of the vacuum after it was turned off by shifting himself back out through the hose? Well, in the future, it's revealed that he went to jail again on purpose to free his father. A little spoiler right there. This is a really good first appearance for a supervillain and a great Peter Parker Spider-Man story. At the time, this story had everything you need. Even the letter pages, yes, let's look at them. They are titled The Spider's Web. This is the second time this comic series ever had letter pages. The first one written said that he liked issue 2 more than the first one because of it having 2 supervillains, and he wished Spider-Man got credit for stopping the Vulture and stopping the planet from being invaded. The next letter points out a mistake where Peter Parker's name is spelled Peter Palmer. One was about Spider-Man being everywhere and his initials being SM like the Submariners, and he was written back promoting Spider-Man in the New Fantastic Four and Strange Tales annuals. One guy stated that he liked the Vulture more than Doctor Doom. He liked that Spider-Man made mistakes and hoped Spider-Man doesn't start getting gadgets in his utility belt he carries around, and that it just sticks to holding web cartridges and the spider signal. One guy questions if Spider-Man could get a spider jet someday, and one writer is written back, and it's confirming in a response that the series Amazing Fantasy was cancelled due to low sales, and they replaced it with the Amazing Spider-Man comic. One guy points out that Spider-Man doesn't have a love interest, and the unique power of Spider-Man having spider sense. After all that, it is then announced that this series is now going to be published monthly. And you can see that there is also a little advertisement for the X-Men. And those are all my thoughts on Amazing Spider-Man issue 4, one of the greatest single issue Spider-Man stories. I thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.